In this session, we'll explore the role of media organizations in different contexts. Let's dive in.
So when we're looking at, or just trying to understand the economic context and how that implicates media and communications, the dual role of news businesses is an interesting one. News organizations are businesses, where they are accountable to shareholders. And even when they're not necessarily businesses in the true sense of the word, community media serves various communities, and they are responsible, or they're expected to meet the needs of those stakeholders. And the duality of it is not just in business, but also in its role in serving public, serving the public. And so sometimes that in itself presents contestations. On one hand, you have a responsibility to the shareholders and those that have invested in the media business. And on the other hand, the public has expectations about, the news, the information, and what you're communicating. In light of all that, we also need to bear in mind that, any quality production, any quality communication is not cheap. It comes as a cost, and somebody has to be able to invest in it. A lot of the advertisers that we have known for the longest time who have sustained media businesses have moved to the internet. And they have found various ways of reaching their audiences. But in addition to that, there are also new players who have come up using the various platforms that are available, whether you're looking at aggregators or curators who've come into the space and are, shaping, the media ecosystem as we have traditionally known it, or, presenting or availing new ways in which information is shared. And the other thing that I think in terms of the economic context that we need to be aware of is that, journalists in media houses are not the only sources of news and information. Citizens today are also sources of news information. If you have your smartphone and you see something that's happening out there, and you take pictures of it, you can share that on various platforms. I think when we think about a context such as ours in Kenya, the WhatsApp platform is one of those places that people use to share lots of news and information. Citizen had, not Citizen, but CNN had, the iReport, where citizens were encouraged to send, news that was happening in their communities. So all this to say that when you're thinking about the media ecosystem today, there are newer players, there are various ways of storytelling, and quality news is also not cheap. It comes at a cost. The owners are also quite different. You'd have, state-owned media. You have not-for-profit media, you have community media, you have private media organizations, and each of these present very different operational or performance contexts that you need to be aware of. And the last thing that I'd like to say in with regards to the economic context is that because there are other stakeholders in that ecosystem, there are certain stories or important stories that may fall by the wayside because of the bottom line. These stories might have an impact on a news organization or a media organization, and so sometimes some of these stories fall by the wayside in as much as they are in public interest, but they would distort or interfere with the commercial side of running the media.
Thanks for watching. I hope you have learned something on the economic context. In the next video, we'll dive into the types of content and trends dominating today's media landscape.